So welcome. My name is Ward Kanowski, and I am in Pleasanton also, like a lot of folks here on the call in the lovely Tri-Valley, and here with co-host Kyoko Takayama to talk about Indivisible Tri-Valley. It's a new chapter that we started just a few months ago. Our first meeting was last December, and we've had the reaction, the turnout has been, I guess, more than we had anticipated. We had like 40 at the first meeting, 30 the second meeting, and then we exploded to 130 last meeting in February with people lining the walls at the library. And we're seeing similar numbers for tomorrow's general meeting. That's why we wanted to have this online meeting for folks, especially folks that may be new to Indivisible, so you could get an orientation about what the organization is all about, learn more about the latest version of the Indivisible Guide, and how we at Indivisible Tri-Valley have started to structure ourselves with teams around the various key, I was going to say issues, but I'll call them threats that coming out of that are from Project 2025 that we're following, and staying on top of. You'll learn more about that during the presentation. So again, welcome. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. We're up to over 50 now, so yay. Okay. Let's see. So, just want to welcome you all again to the Indivisible Network. Just briefly about who is Indivisible for specifically. Well, it's for anybody who is upset, scared, possibly, but yet determined. We want you all to do your part to protect your family, your friends, and your community, and our democracy from Trump 2.0. So we welcome you. We're really glad you're here, and we want to get you all up to speed about the power of local grassroots organizing. That's really why we're all here today. So that organizing at the local level feeds right into Indivisible's core strategy of using our constituent power at the local level. So that's here in the Tri-Valley to help and support and be a part of the nationwide fight against MAGA and the Trump agenda. So let me repeat that. Help and support and be a part of the nationwide fight against MAGA and the Trump agenda. So going forward, whatever you do as part of, Indivisible, just kind of keep in mind that that is a core strategy that's underlying the work we do, any role you take on, basically why you're here. So Rachel Maddow, that's actually a picture of Rachel from like 8 years ago. And I think we've got some folks from Castro Valley here from Rachel's hometown. What she's holding on to there is a copy of the Indivisible Guide version 1.0 from the first Trump administration. So that picture is actually taken, I think, 2017. And the co-founders of Indivisible on a national basis, husband and wife team, Leah Greenberg and Ezra Levin. And as you go through your Indivisible journey, you'll have an opportunity to be on online meetings with both of them. They're frequent guests on MSNBC. Rachel loves them, so it's great that she provides a national forum for Indivisible and what we're all about. And I do want to speak to the guide. The guide is it's the foundation of Indivisible, and it's what the organization is all about. as I say, the version you're looking at there that she's holding is 1.0 from when Trump was elected in 2016. It was updated in the 2018 primaries, 2020 general election, 2022 primaries, and then what we're going to go through today is the latest version that's been updated of the Indivisible Guide as a result of living under Trump 2.0. So let's get into it. So, as you say, the latest version of the guide is entitled Indivisible, A Practical Guide to Democracy on the Brink. So kind of scary sounding, but it is something that empowers us at the local level to use our constituent power, again, going back to helping support and fight against MAGA and the Trump agenda. So what is the guide? It's a set of strategies and practical first steps to help you get started. It's not everything we need to do. We're going to need a lot of different people, so that's why we're really glad you're here to do their parts. And we still have a lot of stuff for you guys to do, I guarantee it, despite the number of people that are showing up. We don't have all the answers yet, but we know, and I like this part, is put one foot in front of the other. So how do you use it? Well, you do what you're doing right now. You join a local indivisible group, or you can form one of your own. You know, the numbers I'm talking about are very large. Some of the indivisible chapters across the country are much smaller. You know, just be a group of friends, 10 people gathered together at somebody's house, or like we do at the local library, for example. So nothing says it has to be an enormous scale, but you know, we do welcome you and glad you're thinking about joining a local indivisible group. And then you start putting the parts of the guide into action that make sense for where you live. One of the parts I do like about working with Indivisible is we don't have to wait for orders and we don't have to ask for permission. So if we think something is a good idea at the local level, then we just move forward with it. And if you're in here at this room right now on this Zoom call, you know, we think of you as part of the movement, and Kyoko and I are here to help you as you continue with your indivisible journey. So let's talk about the first chapter of the Indivisible Guide. Oh, you probably heard this a lot by now, but just to kind of recap, well, I do want to emphasize that Trump's election, voters rejected the status quo, but they didn't embrace fascism. So we think that there's longer term stuff that we need to explore. We've known for a long time that a lot of people don't believe that our democracy is responsive to their needs, and we've seen a multi-cycle erosion of working class support for Democrats and a trend towards anti-establishment distrust from voters who think the system is broken. So right now we're in a short-term fight against MAGA as a political force, but we do have a longer struggle to build a political system that strengthens people's trust in our democracy. And again, let's stress that Trump's win is not a mandate, despite what he says, despite what you know, Elon Musk says, despite what you may have heard at that horrible it's not a State of the Union, I forget, a joint address to Congress. His election relied on voters who were frustrated, not voters who were fascist or pro-Project 2025. And this is not a coalition that can last. We're already seeing some backlash here. And since he's been in office, Trump's no longer the candidate of change, as we can see, since he's, you know, the 8 weeks or 6 weeks he's been in office, he's now the holder of an office of chaos and corruption. So our work is going to be to define the devastating policies and actions and executive orders, et cetera, that are coming out of Trump 2.0. So let's talk some about the power of constituent. I mean, about constituent power and how we can use it. So again, we don't live in a well-functioning democracy, and again, we know this because an election-denying convicted felon was elected president. And it is tempting to just say we lost and not do anything, but obviously you folks on the call don't agree with that, so thank you for that. So but the first rule of fighting fascists is don't give up your power, and don't give them power they don't have. We have the choice of giving our constituent power away or using it in defense of families, communities, and democracy. So here we in Indivisible, this chapters throughout the country, because there's thousands of chapters of Indivisible across the country. We're choosing to use our constituent power and organize locally and focus on our own electeds. So I'm talking about members of Congress, Eric Swalwell, Mark DeSaulnier, depending upon where you live. So we are going to, and then as well as at the state level and at the local level, because we've been working with some of our school boards and our city councils as well. So we'll praise them when they do the right thing and make sure we let them know when they do the wrong thing. So let's talk about getting through to 2026, the midterms, and how are we going to do that? So the guide lays out 3 big plays. And the first is to say no to Project 2025 when it's pushed by the White House and Congress. And anything you see coming out of the Trump administration at this point, whatever executive order it may be, is you can likely find it in Project 2025. We'll stop what we can, and we'll pick strategic fights to drive national backlash to win in 2026. And as I say, we're already starting to see that backlash in a big way. So this might include stopping Congress from gutting Medicare and Medicaid, Social Security, and passing tax cuts for billionaires. Since we have Democratic representatives in the Tri-Valley, we do need them to back us up when we fight Trump's agenda. And that work that they're doing in fighting Trump's agenda needs to be loud and public. And again, we'll praise them when they do the right stuff and berate them as appropriate when they don't take enough action or do something that pisses us off. So we also play hardball whenever we've got Democrats in local city or state office, supporting and or pushing them to block, delay, and challenge Trump MAGA's attacks. California, fortunately, is a blue trifecta state. So we'll be asking ourselves, what is our state doing to fight MAGA harms and abuses? And there are tools that Indivisible offers that will help us answer that question. And finally, we do want to work to protect and win elections, turning all the national backlash into an electoral majority coalition that delivers wins in 2026. Because the future of our democracy depends on our ability to have elections in 2026 and then win those elections in 2026. The people who win that year will be the people who are in charge of administering the general election in 2028. And so we don't want MAGA fanatics or election deniers winning key roles in swing states. Can't have that happening again. So we're building, as I say, we're building momentum toward 2026 through these 3 key plays here. Chapter 4, protect and prepare. I'll say again that we don't live in a well-functioning democracy right now. Expanding on that, we all know about the Supreme Court is shielding Trump from facing justice for launching an attempted coup, but there's still a lot of power we have in the democratic process, and we need to get as many people together as we can to exercise that power. Things are chaotic now, and we need to organize and work together, protect each other. MAGA, when we've seen this firsthand, will attack favorite targets like immigrants and other vulnerable communities. And with local community organizing, like we're doing here today, as well as across the country, we're building a volunteer infrastructure to support people under threat. So we need to organize, we need to stay connected. And a bit of a reality check here for everyone. Trump has promised to go after his political opponents. And as members of Indivisible, we are his political opponents. So there is some risk to political engagement right now. So let's just acknowledge that. But if we pull back out of fear of that risk, the risk will increase because a smaller number of people becomes easier to isolate. So if you know someone, friends, family, someone else, if they're in that frame of mind, if you can pull them in, last thing we want people to do is feel isolated, feel like there's nothing they can do, feel that it's hopeless because this guy got elected, because it's not. And we're just seeing that in the power of the numbers here in the Tri-Valley and across the country. Dissent under a would-be fascist requires as many people in as many places as possible to organize. So widespread, broad-based opposition makes it harder for our adversaries to crack down and raises the costs of repression. Okay, so I love that Pooh quote. Organizing is what you do before you do something, so that when you do it, it is not all mixed up. Again, glad to have you all here, organizing, coming together, rather than isolating and worrying about the future. And we are at the beginning, still kind of in the beginning stages of forming our Indivisible group. As I mentioned, Indivisible Tri-Valley. We had our first meeting in December. Our fourth general in-person meeting is tomorrow. We've tried to, and we're trying to structure our geographic community for this particular chapter, so that it's not a hardship for folks to make in-person meetings and to work with each other in between meetings as well. So Indivisible Tri-Valley, what we've seen is we have members primarily in Pleasanton, but also Dublin, San Ramon. I saw some folks from Danville. We have folks from Danville as well, just coming from other parts of the East Bay. So as I say, we're still coming together. Our chapter is still coming together, and we will in the future need more people in leadership and other roles to ensure the success of the group. So you stick around. As I say, we'll not only be asking you to do to take certain actions, but we may probably also touch on you, ask you to take even broader roles if you're able to do that. So let's learn next about at the state level, we have what's called California State Strong. I'm going to let Kyoko talk about that.
So the California has over 80 indivisible groups. Since every single day the new teams groups are popping up, we don't really know exactly how many at this point. But each group has a choice to join this coalition. And the goal for the coalition is to use our influence to our representatives in the California legislature to sponsor and support progressive legislation. Every year we choose endorsed bills, which is actually voted in by all the groups, and each bills are vetted by criteria. Is it progressive? Is it applicable for all the Californians? And is it difficult to pass? So those criteria went through bills are now provided. It's actually the voting season. And tomorrow we are going to introduce how to vote on the bills. So after each bills are picked, we will have each work group. There are 5 work groups: climate justice, democracy reform, healthcare, racial and criminal justice, which includes immigration, and economic justice work group, which includes education. So we did originally created these 5 groups in our Indivisible Tribal as well, and each group are working on different agenda, and they are making decision what they want to do. So the geographical separation is super important, because when you are living in Alameda County and Contra Costa County, we have different county supervisors, sheriff, and DAs. And right now, political positions of those people are all over the place. For one reason, which I can think of, is we haven't been really paying attention for the local politics. However, under the circumstance, when we cannot really influence too big on the Congress, especially, and president, it's important to protect ourselves through the state and the local elected officials. So we need to actually push them hard to work with us. And of course, we have the state senate and state assembly, and unfortunately, they were kind of really all over the place. So if you live in Tri-Valley, we have 2 assembly districts, 16 for the Rebecca Bauer Kehan, and 20 with Assembly member Liz Ortega. State Senate-wise, most of the Tri-Valley is with Senator Jerry McNerney, who also represent entire San Joaquin County. While we have some similarity between like Tracy, Manteca, and Tri-Valley, it's totally different as you go north and east. So Lodi is like agricultural, and Stockton is a fairly big city, but still in the rural environment. So this geographical group forming is important. And anyhow, so this is a State Strong. We have 5 groups, and every single one of us can join the groups and start working on it. So this is something we really would like to have more volunteers to join. Thank you.
Okay, so you see those are the 5 work groups you're seeing on there right now are the work groups of California State Strong. And so they're overseen by Indivisible at the state level. The meetings are scheduled at the state level. Now, we have also structured our teams within Indivisible Tri-Valley to align with the work groups that you see that California State Strong has here. So starting alphabetically, hang on. We have is that a blank? That is a blank. Okay, we have a climate justice team, and you'll see the threats and the issues that they're working on of making our air dirtier, cutting off ocean and weather and climate data. I think part of that's already been completed with the trying to dismantle the NOAA, expanding offshore natural gas and drilling, and assessing the impact of federal firings, layoffs on national parks, which some of you may have seen some of that in Yosemite recently. Just say we do have some folks from our teams on the call today, and some of the leads, so they'll be speaking into, and I don't think we have anybody on climate justice today. But at the end of this discussion here of the guide and how we're structured with all the teams, we'll be posting an interest form for everyone. So as we're going through what the teams are working on, you can make a determination like, oh, I want to be on that team, or I want to be on that team, or I want to be on two teams. Whatever, whatever floats your boat. So that's climate justice. And again, the meetings that we were showing you for California State Strong, these teams that are within Indivisible Tri-Valley also have their own scheduled meetings to get together and go over the issues that are that fall under that category. And I'll let Kyoko talk about democracy reform since she's a lead on that group.
So we had only one meeting, and we identified the long-term goal versus what we need to do now. So the first one is a federal level, which we all need to work on it. And the current one is the first one, Stop the SAVE Act and other anti-voting rights legislation to fight MAGA. To tell the truth, if SAVE Act actually becomes a law, about 60 million people will be off the voter roll, especially the women will be off the law because they want to have the voter ID based on the birth certificate. So if you actually change the name, that will require the passport. And passport is expensive, and not everybody has it. So that immediately disqualify lots of women's of color and women's in poverty. So that's really the number one goal. We need to stop that. But for the long term, we need to repeal Citizens United. So the money cannot buy the election. That's really, really important. And also promote the fair maps, elect progressive leaders in state level nationwide, can actually change it. And that leader includes a Supreme Court judge state level, because they determine if each state's voting rights are protected or not. It depends on those judges. And the new another election in Wisconsin is coming up April 1st, and that will be a crucial one to protect the Wisconsin's voting rights. If we win, we can keep the fair maps. They just redrawn the map for the state legislature, and we are on track to win back the state House and Senate. We already have the governorship. That will be another state, which could create a trifecta and protect the abortion rights, voting rights, all those stuff. So helping that effort is very critical for entire nation. And state level, I briefly talked about the State Strong CAS and work with individual CAS to pass progressive bills. And currently, we have public financing for election, voting rights enhancement, and AI regulation bills coming through. And we are betting on it, and we will start working on it. So 2 of new members actually joined the work group on the state level and started to learn how to work on this. And another part is the influence California Democratic Party to increase youth and minority participation. Number of the no party preference in amongst the voters increasing last 10 years, and that is creating a lot of void and apathy amongst the, especially young and people of color voters. So this is really critical, even in California, especially Central Valley and Southern California. In the local level, we can actually go even further and register new voters targeting youth, which includes high school and college students, and non-English speakers in both Tri-Valley and Central Valley. We are situated at the end of the East Bay, and really easy to go drive over the Altamont Pass and help San Joaquin County, Stanislaus County, and a little bit further, Merced County. We are the closest in that Bay Area. So we will start working with the effort of registering more Democrats in those areas. and promote civic education. We have lots of people. Probably you have knowledge more than most, but majority of the voters do not know what rights they have in many different areas, especially in civic. So that education is important. And for the long run, we need to recruit progressive candidates in local offices. We need to win state level, local level, and federal level, all levels of the policies to become more progressive. So that's one of the long-term goal. Thank you.
Thank you, Kyoko. Okay, economic justice team. I'm up again. So we've got a lot of stuff we're working on economic justice, but I'll just jump to education because that's been the focus most recently. You probably have heard that Department of Education is under threat of being dismantled, abolished, eliminated, whatever you want to call it. So we do have within the economic justice team, you'll see we have these committees or subgroups, including one devoted to education and any threats that are coming out of Project 2025 related to LGBTQ and civil rights, cutting back funding to public schools, making financial assistance for students much more difficult, or eliminating federal education support. And that would include, of course, eliminating the Department of Education, dangers from that. So the education group's been very active. We also have, as you see, under economic justice, what falls under there is threats to working class folks, poor and low income, however you want to phrase it, but just kind of living day to day. So one of the things we're seeing in what you'll see in Project 2025 is that's being targeted is overtime pay, funding for job creating programs. That's programs at the national level, but also at the state and local level as well. And then, believe it or not, weakening child labor practices. We're seeing within Project 2025 the push to put teenagers back into dangerous jobs. And this could things like working with hazardous materials, explosives. I mean, this stuff is actually laid out in Project 2025 and in the Department of Labor's website in terms of what they describe as a dangerous job. Then we also have making ends meet. We've been focusing on the elimination of Head Start and what that means at both the national and the local level. And then also looking at potential, I say potential, that's the wrong word because, yeah, safety net programs like Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program or CalFresh, as it's called in California, formerly known as food stamps, that's going to be on the chopping block. So that's another example of where the most vulnerable, communities are being targeted by Trump 2.0. And then, of course, undermining the government. A couple of things we've been looking at is the elimination of U.S. aid and what is the how does that I mean, you can think about U.S. aid as providing relief on kind of a global scale, but there are threats from that could come back and impact us locally. For an example, there are different diseases that they have contracts for that they provide funding for to prevent the transmission of those diseases, like Ebola, like malaria, like cholera. Those protections go away in other countries. Someone visits those countries, come back to the United States, then we have that kind of threat domestically as well. You again, lots crammed under the economic justice team. And the area of focus can change periodically, but we're always looking at all of these different areas, because they're all critical. And believe it or not, we're not capturing everything out of Project 2025, sort of prioritizing it, and then seeing where they are in terms of the execution of that particular target or goal or objective out of Project 2025. Some of these have been completed. USAID, yeah, has supposedly been, has been shut down. The CFPB has been shut down, but we found that a number of these objectives, these targets, are not completed yet. So I'm hoping one of the things we can do and that you folks can help us on is get the word out. It's like, hey, they haven't done this yet. It's in the pipeline. What can we do to block, delay, obstruct them from, stopping overtime pay, for example, or I'm sorry, that one's from weakening child labor practices. So let me go on. That's economic justice team. We have about 25 people that signed up. The meetings, we've had like 3 meetings so far. It's all over the place. One meeting had 5, one had 13, one had 9. So love to have some of you folks join. There's lots of work to be done. And next we have the healthcare team. Doug, are you on?
Yes, I am here. Hi everyone. My name's Doug Medlin. I live in San Ramon, so I'm one of the leads for the healthcare team. So I would say, we have a mixture of folks who are like active as health professionals or have been in health as health professionals in some form or another, and other folks who are just passionate about healthcare or perhaps have family members or themselves who have had serious medical issues, and we're all like very horrified by a number, as I'm sure all of you are, by the number of threats to healthcare that are being imposed by the current administration. So our committee, it's similar to Ward. We've had kind of a mix. We've been meeting for the last 2 months. We've had, I think, about 30 folks total on our committee. Um, and we've kind of broken down into 3 topical areas. One focused on reproductive and family rights. Um, one focus, and so there, for instance, abortion rights, LGBTQ family rights, trying to fight against restrictive healthcare policies, protecting bodily and autonomy. Um, Second committee, which is kind of a combination of a couple initial committees that we had, is focusing on government transparency, public health integrity, and emergency preparedness. And this is in the context of health issues. So if we think back to the pandemic, making sure that we're well prepared for the next pandemic or similar health emergency. And I'm sure many of you are aware of the current measles outbreaks that are happening, and questions about whether our current administration is taking that seriously enough. And so a big part of what we're pushing for is, making sure that we stick with science-based public health policies. I don't know if any of you participated in yesterday's Stand Up for Science rally in San Francisco. That the Civic Center Plaza was packed, and there were tons of just fantastic speakers talking about the impact of cuts to cuts to funding for NIH and CDC that are just devastating the research community right now, and we're going to be paying for those down the road with loss of discoveries for new medical treatments. And so, that kind of falls within our scope. And then, paying attention to vaccinations, vaccination policies. Again, with RFK in place, there's some real questions about how the current administration is going to deal with vaccinations. And then the final committee, is on patients' rights and healthcare access. So this is, broad goal is advocating for universal affordable healthcare, but in the short term, just making sure that they don't mess up Medicare and Medicaid. So in protecting vulnerable populations in that. So one of the things we're kind of trying to do with our group is both look at global and national level issues, but also try to identify things where we can impact and collaborate with local groups or impact local policies. So, for instance, at one of our recent meetings, we had a fantastic speaker from one of the local Planned Parenthood organizations, and who talked to us. We had a nice informal dialogue with her, and kind of identified some areas where we might be able to impact locally. So anyway, we meet. So we're meeting now on a monthly basis for our overall healthcare team. That's on um, the first Monday of every month. So the next full meeting for the healthcare subgroup will be on April 7th. And so if you fill in the form that Award was referring to, you can, if you're interested in being on the healthcare team, just make sure that that's clear, and we'll eventually get you. And then our individual subgroups within that are meet in sometime during the month, and that depends on which committee you're on, subcommittee you're on. And so the intent is for them to at least meet once a month as well. And so then when we have our main healthcare team meeting, then we can kind of share information. And then the other thing I would note is one of the things we're trying to do for the broader Indivisible group, Tri-Valley Indivisible group, is consolidate the information and findings that we find, and put those in the form of a newsletter that goes out once a week to the whole Indivisible Tri-Valley, which will identify different action items and key things that people need to be aware of. And so part of that is, and I think this is probably true for all the committees, is there's so many things going on right now, that so many threats that I think we need to kind of like divvy this up and find how we can all impact these issues and kind of share the load. So we're trying to share our findings with the broader Indivisible Tri-Valley team. So
Thank you so much, Doug.
sure.
Really appreciate it. And I've seen the newsletter's fabulous, you guys. Really looks great. So, all right. So the last team, I don't have anybody from the immigration team on. Let me just put a shout out there, because I don't think so. I think, did you
I'm
want to take
one.
that? Oh, I'm sorry, Kyoko. My God. Yeah. Okay, cool. I can't keep track of all the membership of all the teams. So why don't you start talk
Yeah.
about immigration, please? Thank you,
So
Kyoko.
I'm a lead for the democracy reform, and I'm a member of the immigration team. So the Dan Mori, who is taking leadership role, he's out of town. That's why I'm here. And threats and issues using local resources to carry out deportation and detention. So we have had a rally last week, and we had over 500 people showed up, which was great. We didn't organize that one. We joined the coalition, and we are now identifying how to going forward. So that's a really a big threat at the moment. If the detention center actually opens in Dublin, there'll be more actions by ICE. So this is really important, and we will have a lot of mobilization going on. Next one is supposed to be mid-April, but we don't know if it's going to be Dublin again, or we're going to go to Federal Building in Auckland. We haven't decided yet. So the more information is coming. So knowing your rights, till this moment, we have had a lot of Know Your Rights events organized by county, state senator, you name it, ACLU. There are tons of it, and they are all focusing on the immigrant. So immediate need is theirs, not ours. And now we are kind of pivoting that part. So we will learn how to protect them. That's the next training we are planning to have. So that will be a collaboration with the Tribal Women's Action Group, as well as the Livermore Indivisible. And we have a huge coalition going on with Contra Costa and Indivisible East Bay. So there will be more and more information is coming. And I don't know if you can see it or not. This morning I received this postcard. It didn't come from ICE because it doesn't have any signature or embossing, but this was actually mailed to me. And I don't know who did this. It just says deport the illegal aliens. And I started to actually receive some threats because I'm Japanese resident alien. So the threat is actually amongst our neighborhood, unfortunately. So we need to be aware for those vulnerables. That's the real deal. It's not fun, but the fear is real, and actually threat is real. So we will have more information, but the collecting information takes people. And also we would like to reaching out to the communities. And as you can see, majority of us are white and probably US citizens. And we need to include and actually reaching out to the different communities. So that's what is happening about knowing rights. And canceling visa status to facilitate deportations, that's already happened by the administration. And this is something executive orders can do, unfortunately. So immigration related actions can be really, really direct and could happen like in short time. And so the protecting our immigration families, immigrants' families and allies is super important, especially in California. We have so many immigrants. And language support is needed. Alameda County has 14 different languages, and 6 to 8 of them are regularly translated. But other than that, we need more translators. And that's where we are now. So we urge you to join, and we are distributing the red cards. Dan actually purchased 2,500 Spanish English version. I have 500 in my hand. I also have Mandarin English version, 200 of them I just received. So this needs to go into the community. And it will be through you guys, because you will know the restaurants. And the restaurants often hire a lot of undocumented population. So is housekeeping, gardening, all those industries have tons of undocumented population. And if you are customers, you can actually give the red cards to the owner. And they also need to know how to stop ICE. So those outreach, we cannot do just by few people. So everybody's participation will be really appreciated. Thank you.
Thanks, Kyoko. No. There we go. Okay. One of the things I really like about Indivisible is they give you stuff to do. Once you get involved and get on the mailing list from Indivisible National, you'll receive regular correspondence from Leah and from Ezra, the co-founders of Indivisible, kind of laying out the current environment almost on a real-time basis sometimes. but then also giving you actions that you can take to offset, to address, to block, delay, obstruct, the threats that we're seeing right now. And a lot of time that may involve writing a letter to the editor. That may involve organizing some type of rally or protest, like Kyoko just spoke about, like Doug just spoke about, the Stand Up for Science, that event that was in San Francisco. Uh, the protest that was at FCI, the Federal Correctional Institute in Dublin, amazing turnout. We've also, as part of organizing with several other indivisible groups, a rally outside the offices of both of our senators in San Francisco. We're probably about 900 people at that. So we got someone from Alex Padilla's office to come out and make a commitment to continue to work with Indivisible under Trump 2.0. So Indivisible is action oriented. That's what drew me to it back in 2017. I've been part of Indivisible for that long. This is a new group, as we're talking about, but I was originally part of Indivisible East Bay, which is another chapter, as I say, in the area. So here's what I'm going to ask everybody to do. And this is what action looks like. Okay. And it is Saturday, so no one's going to be there when you call. No one's going to quit. But I'd like everyone to, one of the things we need to have happen during the upcoming recess of Congress from March 15th to the 23rd is we need our members of Congress to hold town halls. As you know, they're getting a lot of attention right now, and we want our representatives to know, and we want them to know directly from us that we don't want programs like Medicaid cut, as Doug was speaking about, to help fund tax cuts for billionaires. So, fortunately, we do have a couple of Democratic representatives. Eric Swalwell did have a town hall not too long ago, in around the middle of February. But with that long of a recess, we'd love to have him have another one again. So, and just one thing with regards to Eric, he does receive a lot of death threats. So if we can get him on a virtual town hall online, that would be great. As long as there's some interaction with his constituents, so they'll know what our concerns are. So what I'd like everyone to do right now, okay, well, and we'll take a minute or a couple of minutes for this, is pull out your phone. We provided a script, provided the phone number for you, and call your representatives and tell them they need to have a town hall during the upcoming recess. That is an expectation of those of us who elected them. So I'm going to take my earbuds out momentarily. I'm going to call Eric and ask him to do this. And so, okay, we'll come back. What is it, 2:26? You want to come back about 2:30? Okay. So I'll be back in about 3 or 4 minutes. Then please, everyone, make the call. A ton of calls like this, and we're going to do this tomorrow at the in-person meeting. Will really go a long way to make sure that we get those town halls during the break. Give it another minute here. Anyway, I'm probably funny. Okay. Okay, well, thanks to all of you for doing that. That's the kind of stuff you do when you're with Indivisible. Those are the kinds of actions you'll be asked to take, is engage directly with your elected. So we were just doing it at the federal level. It could be also at the state and local level as well. So one of the members of Indivisible Tri-Valley sent me this cartoon from Robert Reich, who I love, and I think it's kind of cool, kind of speaks to the moment with all you good folks going through the training today, going into the activator, standing outside on the one end looking a little distressed, standing out the other side looking very determined. So I thought this was really appropriate today. So thank you again. And we hope you keep coming back. We'll have time for some Q&A. And I did also want to put up the slide here that shows you how you can choose what you want to do, which the interest form is, you'll be able to talk about which committee you want to join. And I think is there also stuff on there, Kyoko, about like other needs that we have within the group? Yeah, okay.
Not everything. And so I need to just talk a little bit more about that.
Oh, go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah. And one more thing is Ward and I actually met Throughout staff the other day. And one of the asks we had made was just to have a little bit more online and interaction with the constituents. And he actually sent out the email, and this is the ask. So if you are or know somebody who are federal employee and terminated, please fill out this form. So if you know somebody, please send it to them. And what he is trying to do is having stories. So we know there are so many of them, and we need to learn. And to tell the truth, when we have all these worries, depending on what worries you are going to offer, we need the speakers. And the speakers do not mean somebody who is specific about knowing everything. That's not the speakers we need. For the rallies, we need the personal stories. How these actions actually affect your life or your kid's life, your grandkid's life, your mother, your grandmother. That's the stories we need to share, because people actually connect heart to heart emotionally. And that's exactly why this cruelty is affecting us so much. So to counter it, we need to connect each other, and that is through the stories. So yes, please help him collect all these stories. But also, I would like every single one of you to think about what story you have, which issue actually directly affect you. Think about that, and we will practice making personal stories. And we will start doing more and more rallies. And some of them are not really big ones, like Dublin or what San Francisco does. We need to have constant existence. So Tesla Rally is one of the stuff. All the other groups started to do weekly on Saturdays. And it may not be every Saturday, unless you all jump in and help organizing. But we would like to start next weekend. So if you are interested in, please let us know. In the member interest form, there is a note section. So you can actually tell us what do you want to do with us. And also, if you are not in Tri-Valley, meaning Pleasanton, Dublin, San Lemon, and Danville, that's considered Tri-Valley. Livermore is part of it, but we have Livermore Indivisible. So you have choice to join them or us. Two new groups just popped up. One is Indivisible Tracy. Their first meeting will be the next Saturday. Another one is Eden Area Indivisible. Their first meeting is on Monday on Zoom. I don't have the sign up form yet, but as soon as I get all the information, I will send it to the people who might be interested. So please consider to joining. Or actually, there may be more groups coming up. And the good part is we have so many people interested in. So if you have the different focus of the actions the existing group is doing, we would like to start new group. That's perfectly okay. So for instance, Libama Indivisible had education team. They split from the main group. It's called the Libama Advocates for Public Education. No. Yeah, public education. And it has been active through the years watching school board. And unfortunately, we elected MAGA candidate, and one of the 5 school board member is Moms for Liberty person. So we are even closely watching her, of course, and we will counteract everything. But they are now considering to become indivisible group independently. So that kind of issue-oriented, geographically oriented, or maybe the race and ethnicity, it could be the Asian for individual, individual for Asian, individual for Black. It's okay to create one. And we will be happy to help anything you need. Individual National is helping. However, they are taking care of the nationwide. So we'll be happy to connect you to the state organizer, and whatever we can offer, we will help you. So please let us know. So
Okay.
that's all. And now we can take questions, please.
Stop. I'm going to stop sharing now. Okay.
So you can raise a hand, any question, or give us some input.
Okay,
To connect. You want to take it, Ward?
You mean the one that's in chat?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know some folks who are interested in joining this Indivisible group but could not attend this orientation. What can they do to become connected? Well, this is being recorded, this orientation session, and will be available on YouTube. Is that correct, Kyoko?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you will receive the recording link, so you can share that. And another question, we don't want to hear what Fremont Castro Valley folks. It's not what we don't want to. It's for your benefit. If you have the in-person meeting next door, that's so much easier to go to. And also that we have different local government system. So unincorporated area cities are different. And also assembly and state senate districts are different. So the closer, geographically closer, it's easier to organize. So if you love this group, please stay and join. That's not a problem. But for your own benefit and for the future organizing, because if you are thinking about local, electing the local officials, then you cannot really vote in Tri-Valley. If you live in an unincorporated area, you can only vote for the county supervisor.
And Jody, yeah, I went up a little bit there. I'm sorry, Kyoko. Jody, you said so you don't want Hayward, Fremont, Castro Valley folks. No. We have Castro Valley and Fremont folks right now. So we're just talking about I had an email this morning from a member or person that's been coming to Indivisible Tri-Valley meetings from Hayward. And she's been very grateful. She said, thank you for all the support. I want to form my own chapter in Hayward because she doesn't like the commute. She didn't want to drive to Pleasanton every time. So you are free, Jody, to go anywhere you want. If you love us here because of what you're hearing, come to Pleasanton. But we do want to let you know that geographically there is a chapter forming that is closer to you. So and just as I'll put it out there, one of the reasons I wanted to work with Kyoko in starting this chapter is I got tired of driving to Oakland or Berkeley. That's where Indivisible East Bay meets. And so, now I'm, just all I have to do is drive from down to the library, which is less than barely 5 minutes. So it's a lot better. So where you live and where the chapter is does kind of play into things. But, Jody, you can come to our meeting. You can go to the new meeting, and once the Hayward group is up and running, you can go to Indivisible East Bay meetings. You're welcome wherever, whichever chapter you want to attend. So I hope that answers that question. Let me scroll up a little bit here to see if I missed anything here.
And Mark, please unmute and ask
thank
question.
you. A quick question. After looking at the 5 issue areas that were identified, is there a thought to putting together elevator pitch responses for those issues so that we have ready access to a communication vehicle that we can share with those that we interact with, whether it's church, friends, community?
Well, Mark, here's what I would say to you. And I hope you are considering joining us at Indivisible Tri-Valley. Join a group and offer that as I think that's a great idea. Offer that as a suggestion, because when the groups get together, especially when they get together in person, there's some great creativity going on. So, and this is one of the things I want to say about Indivisible. You come up with an idea like that, this is a place where you can execute on it. It does mean, getting to the next level of involvement by joining a team. But the answer is yes, you can do that. And you now have the teams laid out to you where you would be able to move forward on that.
And in-person meeting at Pleasanton Library full, or can interested people still attend? You're welcome to come, but we have 130 people capacity at the library. So we would like to keep in that time, in that number. And so what I can offer is like later today, please try to sign up again. Normally the day before people cancel, so more people can probably join. And also we are going to offer the hybrid meeting, and that link will go out for these people and our members. So that's another option and I cannot guarantee, this is the first time we are going to try the hybrid meeting. So it may not work, but just bear with us because we are trying to accommodate everybody as much as possible. Thank you. And
Yeah, and
Madeline.
that 130 number, just so you know, that's not something we put it. That's per the library fire code. That's what they. And last time we actually went over it. I didn't find out until after the fact. Fortunately, nobody came in and said you got to get out of here because you got too many people. But we do want to be mindful of abiding by the safety protocol. So, okay.
Yes, Madeline.
Question.
Just a minute. Her hand is up, so.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We'll get you next, Jack. Cool. Yeah.
So there's been a lot of talk about like coordinating with local government officials and encouraging civic participation. And that's great. But on the activism side of things, I was wondering, does Indivisible do like organize any kind of like strikes or boycotts or marches, sort of more active forms of protest?
Yes, we do. And that's one of the things we did was that 2 weeks ago already. We had one rally on the President Day. So we will do more those rallies. But the goal for the rally is to say we are here. So join us. That's number one. And our message needs to be widely distributed. So we will need to have media. So today we didn't talk about it, but we also have the teams forming in the backend. So we are in process of creating the fundraising page, which actually is offered by the Indivisible, and it just came through. And we will also want to have the website. I started to create one, but I need content. So content writer will be welcome. Social media team, so we can actually amplify our message in coordinated way. Graphic designers, all kind of stuff. So if you have your idea, just bring it to us, and we will start sharing the resources, tools, and we have the communication tool. We are using Google Group instead of the Facebook group. For the majority of people who doesn't want to be Facebook, we are using Tribally for America Facebook group at the moment, and it's open. So people can actually see who they are in the group and what we are talking about. So it's a little bit muted. However, it's attracting people. So we are averaging like 5 to 10 people joining every week. And so we are expanding, and for the continuation of the expansion, we need more people. We need to plug in everybody in somewhere. So it's not just the issue organizing, but there are lots of different ways. Ward?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just back to the question about, boycott strikes. If it is some other organization that is, that's organizing it, that's and trying to get, we will do all we can to amplify, to get the word out about those events, so that, to increase attendance, to increase awareness of whatever the particular threat or issue may be. And we've already done that. So, Jack, thank you for waiting.
Yeah, no worries. So I may have missed this. I had to step away for a moment. But those 5 focus areas where they're meeting every other week, except for healthcare, meeting weekly, I wasn't sure where to go to sign up for one or get a little more information about it.
Okay, do we repost the interest form there, Kyoko, or?
Oh, is that it on the?
Yeah, we do have an interest form there where you give us your contact information. You tell us which one of the groups you're interested in. Tell us some of your skills.
I've got it. Okay.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Glad to
thank
hear
you.
it. You bet.
Anything else? And there was a question, does it actually help to call our democratic representatives? Yes, they do help, because unless they hear from us, they don't know what we want. So for instance, if we can get 100 calls in one day to the same thing, they actually says, oh, okay, these are the organized people. So they count the numbers on each issues, support or oppose, because we are not the only one who is calling. There are MAGA people also calling. They may not be as efficient as we are, but they are do. So when we have, especially when we have some bills going on, to support or oppose, to tell them which way we want them to go, is super important. And the calls are the most effective, but also the emails will be counted. And I heard so many people are frustrated about Padira's office not allowing the people to record more than 30 seconds. So you don't have lots of time. So you just need to say, I'm Kyoko from Livermore 94550, and I oppose this, do this. And that takes probably 30 seconds. It might get cut off but they will get message. So please keep calling. Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Could you
Go-
post Eric Swalwell's phone number again?
And we have all the representatives number.
Yeah.
Let me just get the link.
Yeah, and just expanding on what Kyoko was saying, we met, gosh, just earlier this past week, I think it was on
Yes.
with Eric Swalwell, with Swalwell's district director and his former district director, and I just said, so what about these calls? It's like, oh yeah, they make a difference. So even though he's a Democrat, it's supposed to be on our side, he needs to know what we're thinking. And while we were sitting with them, we said, extend our thanks for voting no on Lake and Riley. And they were, they were happy to hear that. And also there was another, what's that, the American Family, I can't remember the name of, there was another upcoming bill that he's voted yes on, that we're still waiting for a handful of Democrats, including a couple
Josh Carter.
Yeah, Josh Harder, just over in Tracy, to join in on as well. So these kinds of things do make a difference. They were listening. We also, told us, like, there was a bill HR 30 that was sponsored by Nancy Mace that Eric voted yes on as well, supporting basically her position. So we said we gave them some pushback on that. The cool thing here is you stay with us, you join this group. It's like you're gonna have a chance to interact with these folks because this is all about constituent power. And the more of this that are using it, like I say, we had 46 right now, we had over 50. If everybody did this and they all of a sudden they were flooded with 50 calls, or some people are calling Mark DeSaulnier, but a huge number of calls saying, town hall, please, and then he's going to hear that. He will hear that. So absolutely, they do make a difference.
And thank you, Ruth, for listing 5 calls. Yes, you can use 5 calls. I'm not using it because I want to be really specific. And Indivisible National actually helps us to focus on certain issues, and not randomly, but very strategically. So you are very welcome to make calls using the 5 calls, but don't get burned out on that. So when we need to make calls in short period of time, we will let you know. And we will have certainly different actions. It could be rally, it could be protest, it could be just a town hall in some other district. Because if they're not doing the town halls, Indivisible is asking the constituents to do the empty chair town hall. So we will do the town hall for those people, but for those representatives who are not having town halls and they need help. And that's where we can come in and help, because constituents in the purple districts or the red districts cannot do that alone. So we will be the ones to go and help. So thank you so much.
Let's see, are there any other questions here? I can't see that. I can't. Anything in the chat that we need to talk about? I'm going to just put on Indivisible's website here, post a link to that, indivisible.org. So here's it's out of focus here. So here's my copy. Here's my hard copy of the Indivisible guide that we just went through. Okay. And I have it sitting with me by my laptop here. It's written all over. It's highlighted. It's dog-eared. It's all that kind of stuff, because I keep on referring back to it. So I would, in terms of next steps, and we'll go into that a little bit more. We have a couple of minutes left here. Take a look at the guide. Go to indivisible.org. You can pull up the guide. You can do it old style like me and print out a hard copy, or just go through it. But you'll also see that Indivisible provides a ton of resources for you. So if you think you want to, if we're talking about calling our representative, they'll give you a script. You want to write a letter to the editor? Here's links to the here's links to the publications in your area. You know, and are you in a blue trifecta state, like I say, where the governor, the assembly, and the state senate are all blue? Yes, we are. Then there's a toolkit for that as well. There's this stuff. This place has been around now for 8 years. It was started because of Trump. So it's all about fighting that agenda, and there's all kinds of tools that are out there. We talked about the main one today, but as you get more involved, you'll find out how much more they have to offer. Trainings, all kind of trainings, including you know, that you can online with Ezra and Leah or with some of the other page staff. So, oh, I love it. I have hope. Thank you, Deb.
Yeah, and I just saw another question. Can another organization work with us? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we have the website gohub.us. This was created during the first Trump term, and we are revamping this again, so we can actually share the actions and mobilize to each other's actions. So that's collaborative space. That's what the GoHub is, grassroots organizing connected. We started as Tri-Valley, but it includes Castro Valley, Women's Huddle, and we are certainly going towards the Central Valley. So if your organization is interested in joining this collaboration space, there is a form you can get to. So just fill out the form, and we will have the leadership meeting soon. Thank you for asking.
Yes. And just speaking of that, I'm, you know, geez, who else do I work with? Swing Left, Center for Common Ground, Poor People's. Yeah, I mean, you get in. The funny thing, or the cool thing about activism, getting involved. If this is your just to start, you'll find, yes, you'll be touching other organizations. Heck, before you know it, you'll see them at the rallies, at the protests, and yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Oh, congratulations, Nafija. Excellent, and keep on doing it. That's how we hold them accountable. That's how we let them know what what our expectations are, because actually we're the ones who put them in the office. Are there any other questions, or Kyoko, any?
No, I think we are good. So I'm stopping the recording.